So, thank you all for coming. My name is Ziv Koren. I'm an Israeli photojournalist. I've been a photographer for over 30 years. And throughout my career, I was photographing war and conflict my whole career. But nothing could really, we could not expect anything like October 7th. When on that morning, when I heard the sirens and we understood that uh, just a fraction of what happened, I took my gear, my bulletproof jacket, my helmet, and my cameras, and I went down south from the very first day. And since then, I've been documenting everything that has to do from October 7th, the atrocities that took place that day, the kibbutzim in the south, which are completely burned, um, and then the rehabilitation and the wounded soldiers and civilians going inside into Gaza to tell the story of our soldiers that are fighting, the families of the hostages themselves coming back from captivity in Gaza. It's like the whole range of telling the story of what happened here from October 7th and until literally this day. The reason the exhibition is here is first of all, this is a house where a lot of delegations from all over the world come here to Pella Center, and I thought that it's not just for the Israeli population, but people around the world needs to see this. The exhibition traveled and has been shown in 50 different countries around the world. The book that came out, which is basically evidence, the stories of the people, and I think this is what the most important thing or my mission is to give a voice to those that their voices are not heard and to tell their story of not just the brave hostages that came back, but I've done a story on a 22-year-old from kibbutz in the south, from Kisufim, that she's 22 years old. Her mother, her father, her brother, and even the dog was murdered on October 7th. The house is burned to the ground, and somebody needs to tell these stories. Um, so I never stopped since October 7th. I mean, usually an exhibition and a book is something that comes to conclude a story that you're working on or a mission, but this is an ongoing project. The exhibition, we're still putting up um, new images that were photographed 2 weeks ago. So we're updating it. The book was updated already once, and I'll guess at some point I will update the book again because I'm still photographing every single day, trying with all the um, powers that I have to tell the story of what happened here from October 7th and on. Um, and it's mostly like the thing that I concentrate on the most these days are the stories of the hostages that came back. I spent there are two hostages, Emily Damari, that I'm sure you all know, the famous Emily Damari, and Romi Gonen. They were together 471 days in the tunnels in Gaza, and they the friendship that was created of two young women, bothly wounded. Each of them had one hand which is not functioning, and they've done everything together through the whole time. They saved each other by whatever they do. When they eat, they needed each other. When they showered once every 50 days. But in everything that they've done, they needed each other to help each other, and the kind of friendship that was built from the long period of time they spent together is just unbelievable. So I spent 2.5 months documenting these two brave young women and to tell their story. And so I kind of in every chapter or every kind of month or two, there's another project that I'm building once again to tell another fraction of this huge story that I think my role is to leave this visual document for future generations. I wake up in the morning thinking what historical picture needs to be taken today with a understanding of the necessity to leave behind for future generations the atrocities that took place on October 7th and to tell the story of the people that their voices need to be heard. So that's like the major story that, and I'm working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for the last 18 months to tell the story and to try to get as wide audience as possible. This is why the book was translated to English, and this is why the exhibition traveled, and the stories that I do for Israeli media are being published in international media as well. I work a lot with French media, British media, American media, Italian. I mean, whoever is willing to publish the stories that I'm photographing.
Do you have a website? Do you have it all on a website or?
Yeah, I mean, going on my social media will be, you'll see much more, I guess. I work too hard to update my website all the time, but I do publish my stuff on Instagram. So that would be the best place to look for the recent work I'm working on. I literally just came back yesterday afternoon for the March of the Living in Auschwitz.
Yes.
I think it's probably the first thing I photographed, it doesn't have a direct contact to October 7th, but most of the things I photographed there are October 7th survivors that were there as well. So I've done a story on them in Auschwitz, which was very moving. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. This is, by the way, me on October 7th under attack of Hamas. We're lying under the cars where they're shooting all over. And it's quite a miracle that we survived. Behind us on the road, you will see it in a second. Oh, no, this is the end of the video. But there were like dead bodies of Israelis all over. So it's very intense. But this is my mission and my obligation to tell the story of what happened here on October 7th, especially because half the world don't remember October 7th and the other half denies it. And this is exactly why I'm doing this. And this is Efrat, she's a CEO running Paris Center. We've known each other for many years, and it was Efrat's idea to have the exhibition here. And I think that one of the most important thing is when people come here and see the on timeline, everything that happened in the last 18 months, it's just unbelievable because we are so concentrated on what happened in the last 24 hours. And who says what to whom, and all the political bullshit happening around it. And once you enter and you go through to really understand the atrocities and the stories of these people, this is really mind-blowing.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
I certainly respect and understand the families of those people where the atrocities were committed. But living in Canada, we never saw any photographs.
Yes.
Anything that would shock an average uninformed Canadian as to what really happened. And so part of me thinks that the average non-Jewish person thinks, there was a war.
Yes.
They killed a few people.
Yes.
But, you know, when you hear, they butchered babies or they cut off her breast or whatever, there was nothing in mainstream media that amplified or even gave any voice to that. And I think it's perhaps just so horrible they didn't want to. But
I'll say two things. First of all, the big difference between us and them, I would say, is that in Israel, they don't allow the photographers to enter before they cover the bodies. On the Palestinian side, and I feel very sorry to say that, they don't move the bodies until they bring in the press to take the images. And we cannot then call them press. You know, the Palestinian Authority is not democracy, and the photographers are being told what to photograph and whatnot. But in terms of coverage, this is the reality. I when I wanted to use a few of the images of the dead bodies that I photographed on October 7th, I literally found the families and called them and asked their permission to do so because it's not, you can't really do that here. And I agree that not enough uh, hard images made it to the media showing the atrocities of what happened.
But I agree with the lady there because also the BBC in England, they didn't show. And I phoned my mom to say, "Have you heard what happened?" My mom is in Italy, and she had on the RAI, that is the state television, they had all the footages that I could find then on YouTube or a different type of social. So it was really a conscious type of closing.
I can't agree more with what you're saying. I'm not the address.
Yes, no, but just to tell you that how
I'm
the
an
world.
independent photojournalist.
Yeah,
Nobody asked me to go anywhere.
yeah,
It was my initiative to get on my motorcycle and drive to where the bullets were flying.
yes,
And since then, I've been doing everything in my power to tell the story of my people.
yes, good.
So I agree with everything you say, and I can't even. There are no excuses. I have no idea how
yes.
nothing really came out as strong as it was, and there's a lack of communication, of education, when people are totally uninformed about what the atrocities that took place on October 7th.
Yes.
And I'm trying with all the power that I can raise to do the exhibition and the book and to give lectures and to tell the story and to keep on photographing every day.
Yes.
This is my role. This is what I do.
Very good.
But I'm not a minister of. I mean, I can. I'm limited with the influence that I can have on international media.
I think the criticism is of international media.
So they
Yes.
don't-
By all means,
Yeah.
by all
Yes.
means, definitely.
Especially like the BBC, which is this.
I totally agree, but I'm not here to stand
No,
to
no.
try to defend the BBC. I think they all could have done much better and much more balanced coverage.
Okay, so just first of all, thank you very much for Ziv and for the time that he actually, it's like an extra time that he's here and he's on a mission, as you see. And I told him that for me, such a brave person because on the 7th of October, 6/29, everybody was undercover, and he was a person who ran to the battlefield where everything was going on, all the crazy things were going on, and because he wanted to show us what's going on and he wanted to show all the world what's going on. Ziv published a book and it's over there. It's called 7th of October. It's a book that I think is a must book for everybody to have. There's a lot of pictures in this book that are not here in this exhibition. Some of them are hardcore, but it's definitely a must one. If you want, Ziv, do you have like 2 more minutes to sign a book? I think that
Yeah, okay.
some
Yes.
So I think we should really do it because it's a must.